He was a billionaire everyone wanted. Powerful, handsome, untouchable. But heartbreak taught him a brutal lesson. No woman ever loved him for who he truly was. So he vanished from the spotlight, only to return with a shocking disguise, pretending to be blind. Every smile, every touch, every "I love you." He tested them all. But when one woman refused money, refused bribes, and stood by him when the world mocked him, his darkest secret was forced into the light. What happened next will leave you speechless. Adrian Cole was the man everyone envied. At 37, he was one of the youngest billionaires in New York. His empire spanned across real estate, aviation, and cutting-edge technology. Newspapers called him the Golden Bachelor. Women whispered about him in hushed tones, and magazines fought over his face for their glossy covers. He had everything, except peace. Behind the shiny walls of his glass mansion, Adrian lived with a secret that gnawed at him every single night. Women had never loved him for himself. They loved his name, his money, his cars, his power. Not the man who woke up at 4 a.m. sweating from childhood nightmares. Not the lonely son who lost his mother too soon. No, to them, he was just a wallet with a heartbeat. He had tried. He truly had. There was Melissa, the model who whispered, "I love you," but left the moment his financial advisor froze one of his credit cards. There was Victoria, the lawyer who swore she was different until she tried to convince him to sign over half his estate before marriage. And there was Hannah, the one who cut him deepest, the woman who pretended to adore him for 2 years, until he overheard her laughing on the phone. I can't wait to drain him dry. Adrian's faith in love shattered that day. He smashed his whiskey glass against the marble floor, chest heaving, eyes burning with a rage money couldn't silence. If no woman can love me for who I am, then I'll trick them. I'll tear away the glitter, and whoever still chooses me, I'll give her my world. That night, Adrian called his most trusted man, Ralph, his loyal bodyguard who had saved his life once during a kidnapping attempt. I need you to arrange something, Adrian said, voice cold but heavy with pain. From tomorrow, the world must believe I'm blind. Ralph stiffened. Blind, sir? Yes. Adrian's lips curved in a bitter smile. Every woman who claims she loves me will have to prove it. No dinners in luxury restaurants, no private jets, no designer gifts. Just a helpless blind man who needs guiding hands. If she runs, I'll know. If she stays, I'll marry her. Ralph swallowed hard. This is dangerous, sir. People will talk. Your empire. My empire won't collapse because I close my eyes. Adrian cut him off sharply. Do it. And just like that, the billionaire crafted the perfect disguise for love. The news spread like wildfire 2 weeks later. Billionaire mogul Adrian Cole loses his sight in tragic accident. Reporters camped outside his gates. Business rivals whispered that he would crumble. Women who once chased him vanished like smoke. Only a handful still hovered, pity in their eyes, but greed in their hearts. Adrian watched it all unfold from behind his tinted glass windows, his eyes perfectly fine. But in public, he wore dark glasses, carried a cane, and let Ralph guide him by the arm. Every step was a performance, and every woman who touched his hand was another test subject. But even in his pain, Adrian never expected that this charade would bring him face to face with the one woman who would change everything. It happened at a charity gala. Adrian sat stiffly in his chair, cane across his lap, listening to the chatter of high society women fluttering around him like moths to a flame. They praised his strength, touched his shoulder unnecessarily, whispered how they would take care of him. He nodded, smiled politely, but inside, he cataloged their lies like an accountant. And then she came. Her name was Ilara. She wasn't dressed in diamonds or dripping in luxury. Just a simple navy gown that hugged her figure modestly. Unlike the others, She didn't rush to grab his arm or press her perfume-soaked body against him. She stood a little distance away, her voice soft but firm. "Mr. Cole, I just wanted to say, I admire how you're here tonight despite everything." Adrian tilted his head, his blind act convincing. "You don't want to sit close to me? Most people do." Ilara chuckled lightly. "I'm not most people. Besides, I thought you might be tired of everyone crowding you." Something shifted inside him. Her words were simple, but they sliced through the noise. He played along. "And why should I believe you're not like the rest? That you don't see me as just money wrapped in a cane?" There was a pause. Then her answer came, steady and unshaken. "Because, Mr. Cole, money can vanish in a blink. But kindness and loyalty? Those are treasures no thief can steal. I don't know you well enough to claim anything more. But I can say this. You deserve someone who sees you, not your bank account." Adrian's throat tightened. For the first time in years, he didn't know what to reply. Ralph, standing behind him, raised his brows ever so slightly. This one. She was different. Adrian forced a smile to mask his racing heart. "Thank you. Perhaps you'll allow me to test that loyalty?" Ilara arched a brow. "Test me? How?" "You'll see," he murmured, "if you don't run first." And so it began. Adrian invited her into his carefully constructed world of darkness. He let her guide him through streets, touch his arm to lead him across roads, describe the colors of sunsets he pretended not to see. He stumbled intentionally to see if she would laugh. He asked clumsy questions to test her patience. She never faltered. But Adrian also knew one truth. The deeper this game went, the more dangerous it became. Because what if, in trying to test her heart, he lost his own? Adrian Cole knew one thing. Trust was poison. He had drunk it before, and it had left him crawling in the dust. Ilara had passed his first tests, patience, loyalty, compassion. But he wasn't ready to believe. Not yet. So he sharpened the trap. One morning, as Ilara helped him walk through Central Park, Adrian stumbled on purpose. She caught him instantly, her arms strong around him. "You should be careful," she said softly. He tilted his head, feigning weakness. "Careful? Or dependent? Do you know what people call me now? A crippled billionaire. Half a man." Ilara stopped walking, her eyes blazing. "Then those people are blind. You're more of a man than they'll ever be. Don't you dare talk about yourself like that in front of me." Her fierceness startled him. He had expected pity or silence. Instead, she defended him as if she had skin in the fight. His chest tightened, but he buried it quickly. "Not yet. I must push further." The first temptation came at dinner. Adrian instructed Ralph secretly to leave a checkbook open on the table with blank pages signed. When Ilara arrived with homemade food, she noticed it immediately. "You dropped this," she said, handing it back. Adrian leaned back, pretending indifference. "You could have written any figure, and I wouldn't know. You could be rich by morning." Ilara rolled her eyes. "And what would that make me? A thief in love with ink? No thanks." She tucked the checkbook into his pocket herself. Adrian's throat tightened. Another test passed. The second temptation was crueler. Victoria, his venomous ex, reappeared. She cornered Ilara outside a cafe, her smile sweet, but her words dripping poison. "You think Adrian loves you? Please, you're just a charity project. When he's tired, he'll toss you aside like the rest of us. Why waste your youth on a broken man? Take this." She slid an envelope across the table. Inside, $50,000. "All you have to do is disappear. Walk away quietly. I'll even make sure you find a new job, a better man. Don't be stupid." Ilara stared at the envelope, then at Victoria's painted smile. Slowly, she stood and tore the money in half, bills fluttering to the ground like confetti. "Tell your billionaire ex this," Ilara said firmly. "I'm not for sale." Victoria's face twisted with rage. "Idiot," she hissed. "You'll regret this." Ilara walked away without looking back. When Ralph reported the incident, Adrian almost dropped his glass. She refused? "Yes, sir." Tore the money in half. Adrian sat in silence, chest heaving. For the first time in years, hope flickered. But he smothered it. Hope was a knife that bled men dry. "One last test," he muttered. "One final trial." That night, Adrian invited Ilara to his mansion. The house was dark except for the faint glow of candles. He told her his board of directors was restless, questioning his ability to lead blind. "They want me gone," Adrian said, his voice low. "They'll strip me of everything if I can't prove I still have power." Ilara frowned. "Then let me help you. I'll read documents, take notes, be your eyes. You're not alone." Her words nearly cracked his resolve. But Adrian pressed on. "What if I told you there's a way for you to secure your future? If I sign over half my estate to you, no matter what happens, you'll be rich safe. Would you accept?" Ilara looked at him in shock. "Are you asking me to prove my loyalty with a contract?" Adrian's chest pounded. "Yes. Would you?" She stood, shaking her head. "No, Adrian, because love written on paper isn't love. It's business. If you can't see my loyalty by now, then you'll never see it at all." She turned, tears brimming in her eyes, and walked out. Adrian sat frozen, cane trembling in his hand. She had refused wealth, refused bribes, refused shortcuts. Every trap had failed. And for the first time, the thought hit him like a thunderbolt. She might be the one. But even as that hope grew, another storm loomed. Because Victoria wasn't done. And at the next gala, with cameras flashing and the world watching, Adrian's entire charade was about to collapse, forcing him to reveal the truth or lose Ilara forever. The storm had been building for weeks. Adrian Cole, billionaire in disguise, had put Ilara through fire. He had watched her ignore bribes, resist his ex-lover's venomous whispers, and stay by his side when every sign pointed to weakness. Still, a knife twisted inside him, fear. What if this was all an act? What if she, too, would strike when his heart was fully open? But fate didn't give him the luxury of waiting. The final test came at a high-stakes business gala. Ralph whispered in Adrian's ear as they entered. "Sir, this may be risky. The board is restless. If they believe you truly can't run the empire, they'll try to take it," Adrian finished grimly, gripping his cane. "And Ilara will be caught in the fire." Inside the ballroom, gold chandeliers blazed above sharp-eyed tycoons and jeweled women. As Adrian pretended to grope for a chair, Ilara caught his hand gently and guided him with patience. Her touch, firm, protective, made his chest ache. But whispers swirled around them. "That's Adrian Cole. A blind billionaire? He's finished. Poor thing. That woman clinging to him. Gold digger, no doubt." Ilara straightened her shoulders and ignored them all. She poured water into his glass, described the paintings on the walls, whispered jokes that made him stifle laughter. She made him forget he was acting. For a dangerous moment, he simply wanted to stay blind if it meant feeling her devotion. And then disaster struck. One of Adrian's ex-lovers, Victoria, glided forward in a blood-red gown, venom shining in her smile. "Ilara, darling," she sneered loudly enough for the room to hear. "Do you really think this man will keep you? He's blind, broken, useless. Without his money, he's nothing." Ilara's face flushed, but her grip on Adrian's hand tightened. "He's worth more than every man in this room combined. And unlike you, Victoria, he doesn't need perfect eyesight to see the rot in people's souls." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Victoria's face twisted with rage. "Pathetic. You don't even know." She stopped short, biting her tongue. Adrian realized it was time. He couldn't let Ilara fight shadows forever. He couldn't let lies and venom crush the only pure thing he had found. He rose slowly, cane trembling in his fist. Enough! The room fell silent. And then, with a deliberate motion, Adrian removed his dark glasses. Gasps thundered. His eyes, clear, sharp, piercing, locked on Ilara's. The man who was supposed to be blind looked at her with undeniable sight. "You can see," Ilara's voice cracked. Her fingers slipped from his arm as though burned. "You've been lying to me?" Adrian's heart pounded. "Ilara, please, let me explain." Her face was pale, trembling with fury and betrayal. "Explain? You made me guide you, defend you, fight for you, while you mocked me behind closed eyes. You tested me like some experiment." The pain in her voice was worse than bullets. Adrian stepped closer, desperate. "I wasn't mocking you. I was protecting myself. Every woman I've loved has carved me open for money. They saw a walking wallet, not a man. I had to know. Are you different?" Her eyes filled with tears, sharp with anger. "And did it ever occur to you that real love doesn't survive in cages and lies? That by testing me, you proved you didn't trust me from the start?" Adrian's voice broke, raw with desperation. "I trust you now. Ilara, I've never trusted anyone the way I trust you. You stayed when others would have run. You defended me when the world mocked me. You loved me when you thought I was broken. That's why." He dropped the cane with a clatter and fell to his knees before her in front of everyone. Gasps rippled through the hall. Billionaires, rivals, journalists, all stunned. "That's why I'm begging you," Adrian said, his voice shaking. "Don't walk away. Don't let my fear destroy the only good thing I've ever had. I love you, Ilara. Not as a test. Not as a game. As a man who's finally found his home in your heart." The room held its breath. Ilara's tears slid silently down her cheeks. She stared at him. This man who had everything yet humbled himself like a beggar for love. Every instinct screamed to walk away, to punish him for the humiliation. But her heart remembered his laughter, his vulnerability, the way he clung to her hand when the world turned cruel. Slowly, she reached down and touched his face. Adrian froze, hardly daring to breathe. "You're a fool," she whispered hoarsely. "A blind fool, even with perfect eyes. But maybe," her lips quivered into the faintest smile, "maybe you're my fool." Relief crashed through Adrian like a tidal wave. He surged to his feet and pulled her into his arms. The ballroom erupted in applause, cameras flashing, but Adrian only saw her, only felt her. For the first time in his life, he wasn't the billionaire, the mogul, the golden bachelor. He was just Adrian, a man finally seen, finally loved. And in Ilara's arms, he vowed never to close his eyes to love again. And that was how the billionaire's darkest secret was revealed, and how love proves stronger than money, tests, and lies. But the story doesn't end here, because life always has another twist waiting. Do you think Ilara was right to forgive him? Or should she have walked away forever? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the next part of this story is coming, and trust me, you won't want to miss it.